This is a screening mammogram on a 62-year-old woman back in 2002, October. And she had 2 nodular densities here in the breast, which had the appearance of small lymph nodes. She had a follow-up mammogram in April 2003, and we can see that both of these nodular densities have increased in size. Her surgeon recommended that they be biopsied, and she was sent to us for that procedure. We had a preliminary ultrasound which showed 2 small nodular densities which had the sonographic appearance of lymph nodes. You can see one here in the 3 o'clock position measuring 6 millimeters, and then at the 2 o'clock position also measuring 6 millimeters in diameter. So they were fairly uniform in appearance. We did 14 gauge biopsy on both of these. This one up top here at 3 o'clock we used the biopsy needle. These are very small lesions, and I took, I believe, 5 cores out of this nodule. It can be technically a little bit challenging to make sure that you're capturing the appropriate tissue in the during the procedure, just because of the small size of the lesion. You can easily see the needle passing through the nodule, but you're really sometimes not quite sure whether the appropriate tissue has been captured. The second lesion, we used a 14 gauge mammotome handheld, and we actually during the procedure were able to remove all imaging evidence of the nodule on the ultrasound during the exam. The reason we decided to use both the biopsy and the handheld 14 gauge mammotome today was because these lesions are very similar both in size and location, both at the same depth within the breast tissue, both about the same size, 6 millimeters, and probably the same pathology. And I thought it would be interesting to compare and contrast the workings of both the handheld mammotome procedure with that of the biopsy procedure, both in with respect to the duration of the exam, as well as the amount of work by my assistants. And it'll be important to see how the pathology also agrees or disagrees. I chose the larger lesion, the one that I thought was a little bit more evident visually, to use the biopsy, just because it's going to be a little bit more challenging for me to get that through a small nodule. Needle that I'm using, a little bit different than before. Does the same thing. finishing up here, hon. We're all done.
Very small. Just a snippet.
Now on our post-procedure mammogram, on the in the area that we use the biopsy needle, you can see a residual nodule, really not that much different than the pre-biopsy image. So I can say we had taken tissue in the region, and I'm just hoping that there's going to be pathologic concordance once I have that returned. We used the handheld mammatome. There was a little bit of evidence of bleeding, but certainly no evidence of residual nodule in the area. And I just want to say, when we do biopsy lymph nodes, it's not uncommon that we experience a little bit of bleeding just because each lymph node has a small feeding artery. So it's not uncommon that we see a little bit of bleeding. It was inconsequential during the procedure, though.